Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started with the session. So, as I mentioned in morning session, now we'll actually work on conditions and control statements. You can see the PPT here. Uh, we'll have about 2 hours of session on this topic, and then followed by 2 hours of practice session for you. So just to recap on what you have learned so far: computational thinking, introduction to object-oriented programming, and then we have seen data types and operators in Java in the morning session. I'm sure you have worked on the tasks provided by us. So if you can't finish it in the given time, please make sure you do it after the session, so that by the time you reach the next session, you will be on track and ready to go. Okay. I mean, I see most of you are finishing even faster because we aren't actually on complex topics right now. So that's good. So learning objectives for this session are will help you understand concepts called conditions and control statements, and will help you control the program flow using these concepts. We will not be working on arrays as of now, so that will be covered in the next session. So as you said, Java is already installed on your computers, so you should have knowledge of variables, data types and operators in Java, and basic programming in Java, which is what we have did in morning session. If with for some reason if you have missed that session, please make sure you watch the videos and then learn those concepts. So why control statements? So we have data types, variables, and then operators. So why do we need control statements? In the programs, we need to control the flow of the execution. Otherwise, as probably most of you know, that the program will be executed from top to bottom. So that is how the programs will normally executed. So if you want to control the flow of program execution, you need some statements to help that. And then we use control statements when we are supposed to do decision making, like deciding whether this bit of code needs to be executed or not, depending on some condition. So we use when we need decision making, we'll use control statements. And if we are supposed to do repetition of task, like if you want to print something 10 times or 100 times, then we use control statements. And then branching, like to break or to make sure program run and go to whichever required sections of the program, branching is required, and that we can achieve through control statements. So there are three types of control statements. Those are selection, repetition, and branching. So we'll get started with selection statements. There is if then else selection, or nested if then else, and switch case. So here is a flow which shows why do we need if statement. If we have some decision to take or condition to check, and then execute the code based on the condition. If it's true, we can check the condition. If it's not true, we can just go to exit. Thank you. Yeah, in as shows in this figure, after checking the decision or the condition, if it's true, this program is getting executed. Otherwise, If it's false, it's going to exit. So if decision is true, then procedure 1 is executed. If the decision is false, nothing will happen. So we'll directly look into an example. So we have a program where we took number, which is an integer data type, from command line, and then we are checking whether it's even number or not. Okay, we are checking whether the given number is even number or not. If it's even, we are showing the output, otherwise we are not. So let me execute this program. If you have a look at the different places of this program, here we are checking the condition, which is whether number percentile 2 equals to 0 or not, which is nothing but the condition which is controlling the flow of the program. If it's true, it will go and print the output, otherwise it will just exit. So because we are taking command line argument, we need to pass on some argument after giving Java space program name. So let me give the number as 3, that means that becomes my number. So this doesn't give me any output. What if I give 4? It shows 4 is even number. That means because I wrote a print command, when the number is even number, it's showing me the output, otherwise it is not showing anything. So that shows that we are missing on something. We are just writing the if, and that's not enough. So we have something called if else statement. So if the condition is true, we know what to do. If condition is false, we still need to show the user saying that whether the condition is false, or then give them some display to be able to understand what is going on. So you can see in this diagram, there is a decision. If it's true, procedure 1 is getting executed. If it's false, procedure 2 is getting executed. So that is how we use if else statement. I believe all of you have actually worked on if else in some or other programming language, so I'm going little fast. If you feel I'm going fast, do stop me so that I can repeat it again for you and show the code if you want to see that. Okay. So let's have another example which shows if else. So we have a class, we have a main, and then we are taking one command line input, which is of int data type, and then checking whether it's even number or not. This is just the same previous program. If it's true, we are printing it is an even number. Else means if that condition is false. Else is nothing but if the condition specified in if statement is false, then we'll go and print that the given number is an odd number. You can see in one statement I have given number, and another statement I have given argument 0. So you can use any of them because we are taking this as command line argument. Let me compile the program. Yeah, I didn't share the desktop, so probably you can't see the program. I just now shared the desktop. I believe you can see the program now. This is the if part. So if the number is number percentile 2 equals to 0, we are printing it's an even number. And this is the else part, which shows that if the if condition is not met, it will show the given number is an odd number. So I'm compiling the code and then trying to execute. I need to give an argument. I'm giving it as 5 because I know it's not an even number. I still need to get some output. So it shows 5 is an odd number. For our earlier program, it was not giving anything for odd numbers. So we just added an else statement, uh, which is showing if the condition is not met, what to display is what we can decide in the else statement. So that's if and else, and there is something nested if. Sometimes we can't just solve the program or the problem using just a single if and else. So in that case, we can go for nested if, where we can have multiple conditions like if condition 1 execute following code, else if condition 2 execute following code, and then we can have as many else ifs as possible or as needed. And then once we are done, we still need to end it with else. It's not compulsory, but it always acts like a default case. So once we are done with our if conditions and then else if conditions, we can specify it as else and then give the condition or the code to be executed. So this is nested if else statements. So here is another example where we will show a Java program to display grade of students depending on marks obtained. So you can see if the marks are greater than 80, we need to show it as excellent, and then you can see other parameters on screen. I'll go and show you the program. So this is the program. So we have an integer marks, and then I'm checking whether marks is greater than or equals to 80. If that is true, I'm displaying the out as excellent, and then I have some other condition which needs to check whether the marks are between 80 and 70. So I have else if command. Yeah, here is the if statement and the follow up statement to be executed, and here we have else if, where we are checking the marks between 80 and 70 and then displaying some output, and another else if to check whether the marks are between 60 and 70 or not, and we have another case which is none of the above, so that comes in else and we print that not satisfactory. So that means the marks are less than 60. So I need to give marks as an input. Let me give 100, and then it shows excellent because the marks are greater than 80. Likewise, I can give any number. If I give 45, it shows not satisfactory. So this is how an if else nested condition will work. So I want you to work on one if conditions program. So here is a program. So I'll read out for you once. So Raju's parents are celebrating their marriage anniversary. They have arranged a small party tonight. They are expecting their colleagues and Raju's friends to attend the party. They have planned to serve Coke and Badam milk to these guests, but they would like to serve Badam milk to teenagers and Coke to adults. So please help them finding teenagers and adults based on age. Write a Java program to find out adults and teenagers based on their age. Note that teenagers are those who age between 13 and 19, including both. So we can have another condition where some guests are neither teenagers nor adults. So what do we do then? We just serve them water. So we have three types of people now: children, teenagers, and then uh, elders. So we need to, I mean, adults, teenagers, and children. So we need to test using nested if condition whether they are between the age group of 13 and 19 or not. If they are more than that or below that, we need to display that uh, whether they are children or adult, followed by what they will be served, like coke or badam milk or water. So please try out this one in the next 10 to 15 minutes. You can ask if you have any questions. The output should be like after taking the age of the participant or the guest, the display need to be children space water or adult space coke or teenager space badam milk. Once you're done doing this program, you can type done in chat window so that we get to know when to proceed. Everyone, is it done? Can we proceed to next slide? Yeah, PVP says they are done. So I hope when you say done, you're actually saying done on behalf of all the participants in your college, not one participant. Nice. Alright, everybody seemed to be done. That's nice. So, yeah, whenever you're done, just let me know saying done so that if you finish it in lesser time, we can just proceed without waiting. Okay, here are some common mistakes while using if condition. So if condition actually checks for boolean cases also. So if 1 is not equal to if true. So you know, you remember boolean data type, right? It will have a value true or false. So people will get confused that if 1 might be equal to if true. So it's not actually same. So it will check for that particular value, whether it's true or 1. And same is the case with 0 and false. So don't get confused. Don't write if 0 in place of if false or vice versa. So here is another case where value of x is 20, and then I need to print it saying if x equals to 5, I need to print it as x is 5. If x equals to 10, I need to print x is 10. So like this I need to go till 25 or 30 or 100. So if x equals to 15, print x is 15. What if I need to do that for x equals to 1 to x equals to 20 or 100? So I need to keep writing these statements: if, else if, else if, else if, and then else. So though if else statements, the nested if else is very useful for checking conditions. We still need a better one when we have so many conditions to check. So here we get introduced to something called switch case, which is a built-in multi-way decision statement in Java. It is available in other programming languages also. So when we have so many conditions to check, switch case will help us in a better way than if else and or a nested if else. So let's see how this works. So first we need to give it as switch and a control expression saying on basis of which variable or which value we are trying to handle this switch condition. So we need to give that, and then within that one we need to type in case 1 or the case expression 1, because it actually comes from control expression value. We can have as many values as possible, and then when that case is met, we need to put down the statements to be executed. So we can have multiple cases where statements can be executed to those particular cases. So we'll have default in the end, which almost acts like an else, but it has a better usage. So that we'll see in next slides. I'll show you an example. So here we have a double value, which is so in this program we are taking discount, a variable which is of double data type, and then we have another integer data type number, item number, which we are taking through command line input. So our switch case actually is on item number. So item number is the condition first here. So whatever we give as a user input will determine which case to be executed. So we need to determine the discount depending on the item number. So if my item number is 1, that goes into case 1, and then discount needs to be displayed as 0.01. So here we are assigning value into discount depending on the switch case. This one you can see discount equals to 0.1, and then there is something called break. So why do we need break? We'll see. We'll actually remove the break and then execute once. We can execute without removing break. And then case 2 have some discount, case 3 have some discount. Nothing is written for case 4, 5, 6 and 9. So whatever the cases available, you can write them down, and then once none of the cases are met, that will actually go into default, where here we can we gave discount as 0. That means for all the cases other than 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 10, there is no discount. So it's working like that. Whenever there is a discount, we need to specify that in a case, otherwise we can just assume that that will go into default and then discount will be 0. End of it, and after the switch we'll write it as print the discount for item number is the discount given. So let me execute this program. So if you look at this, for 1, 2, 3 and 7, 8, 10, we gave some discount value. So let's take 7. So it shows the discount for item number 7 is 0.5. So you can check the same in the program also. For case 7 we gave discount as 0.5. So what if I don't give anything from the specified numbers? Let me go for 11. It gives the discount for item number 11 is 0, because it's a double value, it's showing 0, 0.0. So that means it actually went into default and then did not print anything. So what is the use of break statement? So this breaks from the switch case condition once any case condition is satisfied. So we are checking for a condition and we are checking for a value. So that might be 1, 2 or 10, and we have a procedure to be executed once that condition is met. So we use break to make sure that once the condition is met and the next procedure is executed, the program needs to exit from switch case. So this is used to terminate the switch statements. Let's just have a look. I'll put all these breaks statements in comments and then execute the program. Previously when I gave my apologies, actually I'm continuously forgetting to share the desktop. So what I did is I have just put all the break statements in comments. So I just commented all the break statements just to see the output. Compile the code. Then earlier when I have executed this one, when I gave value as 7, it did display me that discount for item number 7 is 0.5. So let's see what happens now. It shows the discount for item number 7 is 0.0. The reason for that is, after getting into case 7, we are initializing the value of discount 0.5, but then there is no break, and then it is still continuing to work in switch case. It goes into the next case and then next case, and then finally it goes into default, where discount will be initialized to 0. That means the final value which is available in discount is 0, so it is getting displayed as 0.0. If we don't put the break, the switch case will not be stopped once the condition is met. So to make sure that happen, we need to have break. So this is one very important thing in switch cases. So here we are, time for workout on a switch case. So where you need to implement the calculator functionality in Java, you will need to give an option for the user to perform different functions like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So we have 4 options. They can select option 1, which is addition, option 2, which is subtraction. So likewise we have 4 options, and then we don't need the program to execute all 4 options. We want the program to execute only one option, either addition or subtraction or multiplication or division. So please note that user will be able to perform only one operation from the above mentioned operations in each run of the program. So in the next module you will be introduced to loops, wherein you will learn how to perform repetitive operations. So right now we want only one of those functions to be executed. So please write a switch case and then write code for addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. You can just have 2 values A and E, either a command line input, or you can directly take the input straight away and then try to implement switch case and then perform one of these actions. If you want to have a look at the syntax of the switch, I'll put the code written by me in for your availability. You can have a look and you can check the syntax switch here, and then write down the code which is useful for addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Let me know when you are done so that we can proceed to next topic. Saying they are already done. So VRSCC is done too. What about VNR and BAPTLA? Alright. So everybody is done. Okay, then we'll move on to next topic. So here are some common errors which people do, having more than one case label with the same value. You can see here that in case 5 is written 2 times, so and then there is a default. So just try out this code, give write 2 case labels with same value or same number, then see what happens. You can try giving 2 different print statements and then execute the program and see what happens there. So that's actually not a correct way of doing the switch case. Just check in your list and see what happens when you give 2 same case labels. And then here is another thing, switch statements are used to test only equality, not greater than or less than. We cannot try switch and then if a greater than b, write some cases. So that's not possible. That will result in an error. We can only for the condition where we check with a value, only if it is equal to that one, the case will be executed. We cannot check for greater than or equal to some other thing. We can only check for equality. So with that, we'll move on to control statements, which are used for repeating or then repeatedly printing some of the commands using loops. We have loops like for loop, while loop and do while loop. We'll get started with while. So this helps us execute a block of code or statement till the given condition is true. So if we don't know the number of times code to be executed, but then we know what is the condition till when the code needs to be executed, we'll use while. So there are different types of loops. While is useful when we don't know the number of times in which the code needs to be executed, but we know till what condition we need to execute that program. So we'll write it as while condition, like a greater than 5 or a less than 10, and then we'll write down the statements to be executed like print commands or some other commands. So once we are done, we need to close the bracket. When the expression results in false, the control comes out of the loop. So that's what happens. As long as the condition is true, the loop will be executed. Once the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. So this loop is good for scenarios where you don't know how many times a block or statement should repeat, but you want to continue looping till a condition is true. So that is where we use while statement. So here is an example. So here we have an example. Let me share the screen first. So I have an illustration in the slide also, but I am trying to show you another example which is written in Java. So we have a number which is of integer type with a value of 1. We are initializing number to 1, and then we are checking while number less than or equals to 100. That means I want this loop to be executed as long as the number value is less than 100. So if number percentile 10 equals to 0, I have something to print, like it just prints that the number is divisible by 10, and then else it will print just hello Java. So I have a loop using while where the number value starting from 1, and then I want this to be executed till the number value reaches 100, and there is number plus plus, so that every single time the value of number gets incremented. Remember the postfix, right? Number plus plus, so number equals to number plus 1. So after coming into the loop, that will check for the condition. If that is percentile 10 equals to 0, it will print as hooray divisible by 100, else it will print hello Java. So this is the example of while loop program. So we have already given the value of number, so we don't need to give any command line arguments. Let me execute this one. So you can see start saying 1 2 3 4 5 till 9 hello Java, and then when the condition is met, it prints as hooray divisible by 100. So this is if and else within the loop. So our while will get executed till 100. Once the value of number becomes greater than 100, the loop will break automatically. That is the use of while loop. So we have something called do while, which almost acts like a while loop, but then there is a one change in that one. So the syntax is, it starts with a do, and then within the brackets we need to write the statements, and at end of the loop we need to write while the condition followed by semicolon. So the difference between while and do while is, irrespective of the condition, the do while loop will get executed once, because we wrote the condition at the end of the loop. So it will, whatever the statements we write in within the loop will get executed once for sure. So even if the condition is false in the first attempt, do block of code is executed at least once, because by the time it reaches, by the time the while checks for the condition, the loop would have been already executed once. So also remember to put semicolon at the end of while statements. The only difference between while and do while is, in do while the program will get executed at least once. That means the commands written in the loop will be executed at least once. But in while, it's not like that. Once the condition is false, initially it will check for the condition, then only it will go into the loop. So there is a small program which you have already done in your computational thinking using Raptor. So you want that to do the same using while or do while. So you can use any of them. Write a program to print the multiplication table till 20 of a given number using while or do while loop. So if the number is 5, then it needs to go till 5 into 1, 5 into 2 up to 5 into 4, because we have given the multiplication table till 20. I mean, correction, it needs to go till 2 into 20 or 5 into 20 or 6 into 20. So the loop needs to be executed 20 times. So write this program using while or do while. So there are some other examples for loop also. So that will come in next slides. So try out this program. I believe it will not take 20 minutes. You can probably do this in 10 to 15 minutes. And then we can proceed to next slide. Have somebody respond from Bapatla College? Let me know if you are done with the program. I don't see any response from Bapatla College. Are you done with the program or not? Slides. If Bapatla faculty are not done, you can take your time and finish it uh, after the session also. So we'll just proceed to next slides. So let's move on to for loop, which is considered as basic for loop statements. So iteration over a range of values. So we know how many times the loop needs to be executed, whether 10 times, 15 or 100 times. So once we know that, we can use for loop. So where we'll have values initialization, where we'll initialize the value of the variable. For example, we can take I and then initialize that to 0 or 1, and then check the condition till which point we want the loop to be executed. For example, let's say I less than 100. If you consider the previous while program we worked on, so it was done till the value of the variable is less than or equals to 100. So we can do the same here. We can say I equals to 1 as initialization and say I less than or equals to 100 as condition, and then decrement. So usually in while or do while, we have incremented the value within the loop using the statements, but here in for we can actually increment or decrement within the for command itself. So the for syntax is within brackets initialization semicolon condition semicolon increment or decrement, and then close of the bracket. After that we will write the statements to be executed once all these conditions are met. So declaration or initialization is used to say that loop is started with that value, and then condition will ensure the loop will be executed till the value is satisfied, and then increment or decrement after each iteration it will increment the value of the variable, otherwise the loop will go into infinite loop. Since we are checking for a condition, we need to see the value of the variable keep changing depending on the requirements. So as I mentioned, first we declare or initialize, and then the code block within the loop is executed, then the iteration is performed and the condition is checked. So once the condition is false, the loop will not get executed. So here let's have a look at the example where we need to write a Java program to print an output 10 times using for loop. So we are just looking for a static output which needs to be executed 10 times. So let me show the program. So we have a for loop where we initialize saying int count equals to 0 and then count value less than 20 is the condition. That means we want the loop executed till the count value reaches 20, or let's make it 10 because we are looking to execute this for 10 times, and then count plus plus. That means after each iteration the count value will be increased. So here is our print command which is working on for loop. So we just want this to be displayed 10 times. So this is how it works. We can change it. If we want loop to be executed only 5 times, we can change count less than 5, and then we can change the initialization value, or I can actually increase the count 2 times. I mean, not just count plus plus, I can do count plus 2 or count plus 5. So what I'm doing is, while writing the condition in for, I'm ensuring the value of initialization value and the condition, and then the increment and decrement value. So everything is specified in one line itself, and then the commands to be executed will be written in for loop. So yeah, before you work on this one, I would like to show some points to be considered while writing for loops. So you can have multiple statements in each part of the for loop block except in the condition part. You can see in the example that int I equals to 0, comma j equals to 0. That means there are a couple of initializations, not only one. And then there are two conditions, I greater than 10 and j greater than 10. So this is actually not allowed. The condition needs to be only one. We can have multiple number of initializations, we can have multiple number of increments or decrements like I plus plus comma j plus plus. All these are allowed, but then while checking for the condition, we need to have only one, whether I greater than 0 or j greater, I greater than 10 or j greater than 10. So this is one important thing to be considered. So this will actually throw an error because we have two conditions here, but we can edit it and remove one of the conditions and the code will be executed normally. So other thing is, when you don't specify any condition, that means you are not initializing any value, you are not specifying any condition, and then you are not incrementing or decrementing. So the loop will by default become an infinite loop. So when there is no condition, that means the loop will get executed continuously and that will run into infinite loop. So here you can see initialization, condition, the increment, and also the display value is being kept in the for statement only. So system.out.println of I, so I is the value. This line is also written in for condition. So we don't need to write the code within the for block. We can write within the line of the for. So this is also correct. So now let's come back to the workout where we are looking to find out all the prime numbers between 1 and 1000. So you know all the control statements and you know how to control the logic. So let's write a program to display prime numbers between 1 and 1000 using loops. You can use any of the loops, for, while or do while loops, and then you can use conditions. Here the output is given as 2357 actually. The output not only ends there, it goes on actually. Only first few prime numbers are shown in output in this slide. Then you need to find out between 1 and 1000. Alright, great. Yeah, we didn't see anything from Bapatla, but in any case, we'll proceed to next slides because we are actually nearing the session break time. So let me proceed to next slides. We have already seen these slides. So yeah, there is something called branching statements. These are break, continue, and return. So these statements have very significant value in writing Java programs. We'll see how these are useful. So break statement is used to break the execution of loop. You know how to use break in switch cases. Then we can use break in execution of loops also. So how is it useful? We can see here. We have a code where I value starts from 1 and then needs to get executed till I less than 10, then I plus plus. Within that one we have a if condition where if I percent L4 equals to 0, so we are checking whether the number is divisible by 4 or not. Once this meet the uh, condition given, we have written as break. So what happens? So usually when we write like this, once the I value becomes 4, 4% L4 becomes 0, that means the conditions become true, and then when this goes into if condition, there is break, so this actually breaks from the loop. It will not continue for the remaining values. So this is how we use break command. Within for loop, if we have a condition with which we want to break the loop, we can use a condition called break. When you can try this out in any of your loops, and then you can check whether it's working or not. There is something called continue. So like break is used for breaking the loop. So this is used to specify that skip the current iteration and resume the next iteration. So you can see the illustration here. So there is an if condition within a loop where we wrote the code as continue. So how is it used? You can I'll show you the example. Probably that will help you understand. So here is a problem where we have for loop for which I equals to 0, I less than 10 and I plus plus. I am checking whether I percent L2 equals to 0 or not. If it's 0, I am saying continue, otherwise I am printing a value of I. So let me execute this one. So it shows 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So we are actually checking from values 1 to 10. So if it I percent L2 equals to 0, it is not printing anything, but it is saying okay, skip this line and continue with the loop. So whenever this condition is not met, we can see I value is getting printed. So that is how we got 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9, because the even numbers are not showing up and then odd numbers are showing up. Let me type break here. You can try for bigger loops, that will show you a better difference. But I'm just showing you the difference, how it works. So when I press break, so it is checking 0 percentile 2, that becomes 0. So the loop is getting break. So because we wrote break after this if condition which is within this loop, the total loop will get I mean, it will break from the total loop. So break is used for that purpose. If you want to just continue doing that, you need to use continue, not break. And then there is something called return, transfers the control to the caller of the method. So methods, uh, yeah, we didn't discuss about methods till now. So methods will be introduced to you. So used to return a value to the caller method and terminates execution of method. If you have used functions in C language and then there is something called return where we pass on a parameter into the function or a method, and then once we do the function call and define the function, we return values back to the function. So it just works like that. The returned value type must match the return type of the method. So because we are doing through a method or a function, so it needs to match the value type or the data type. So here is the statement. There is a class and then there is main. It says system.out.println hello plus welcome message. So we need to define welcome message. Static string welcome message is, it returns welcome to enhancedu because both are strings. So this will return back this welcome message is a function and we are defining it here, where we are giving return value as welcome to enhancedu. So this value will be passed on to welcome message in the main So these method calls and then definitions will be shown in the next session. So I just wanted to show you because this is part of control statements. So with that we end the session on conditions and control statements. Any questions as of now? Once you get introduced to OOPS concepts, you will use more of these concepts. These are just like basics in any programming language. So this actually doesn't deal with any object-oriented concepts right now. So, but from tomorrow's session onwards, you will be introduced to object-oriented concepts, and within that, you will need to use all these conditions and then variables, control statements. Any questions now? Okay. And okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, this PPT is available for you. We'll put this up on our portal, and I'll upload another document which has some tasks which you are expected to work on in the following session, which is from 4 to 6. So that's practice time, so you can just spend some time practicing these tasks. And then there are some other tasks which you are supposed to do by next weekend. So all two of these documents I'll upload right now, and I'll upload the same in portal. So do spend some time solving those programs, so that will help you understand next concepts better. If you have any questions, you can always ask us through mails, or you can call us also. If you know there is something called discussion forums in our portal, so you can use them also. Right, thank you so much. You can go for a break, and or if you are waiting to catch your bus, you can do that. I'm uploading the document which has additional tasks to be done by you by the time you come for your next session. So good luck, keep practicing, and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you so much everyone. Have a nice day.